my early education journey, so I studied in a local Marathi medium all the way from standard first to BCom, complete graduation in Marathi medium. And what has happened in entirely different thing happened with me is that I was always an average student in the school. Barely got a first class in my 10th and 12th standard. No, 12th I didn't get first class also. 10th I got a first class. But I went to BCom and I stood first in the entire university in the BCom examination. So that was a complete, unexpected change in my life. So I was a university topper in a Marathoda University in Aurangabad. So that opened a lot of things for me, really. Like I was a sort of not an intelligent student. People will not bother for me. So this BCom first getting a university topper became a big thing. So I had to prove every time to the world at large, that I can do something. So after BCom, I came to Pune for my further education. After coming to Pune, I did ICWA at that time. We used to call ICWA, now it's Indian Institute of Cost Accountants. I did LLB from Symbiosis. I stood first in Symbiosis throughout LLB. Then I did my MCom, Masters in Commerce. I did my company secretary. And I was doing a job in the evening. Work of account, bookkeeping, accounts writing in the evening, and do some small jobs, earn some money, and then study. So this was like I would say, my early journey as a student from an education point of view. And then after completing all I lived in Pune, I studied all these things, worked for around 6 years. And then I got into the job. My first job was with a company called Kirloskar Brothers here in Pune. And then I shifted from Pune to Aurangabad. I worked in multiple companies, multiple professionally managed multinational companies. I worked with Goodyear South Asia Tires Limited, American company. Then I worked with Foster's Limited, which is an Australian beer company. Then I worked with McDonald's, the American burger company. So this is how I changed my career, my domain. I learned a lot of things. I went to, in addition to this, I lived in 5 countries in the world. So I traveled, I lived in Uganda, I lived in South Africa, I lived in Middle East, I lived in Singapore, of course, India. And then later on in my career, I became a managing director of a very large fertilizer company in Middle East. And then after that, I became a vertical head or a group CEO based out of Singapore for a very large family managed business, managing 5 businesses, multiple businesses in multiple countries, around $500 million US top line and 1,000 people under my leadership. So this is in short you can say the journey. If you want to ask anything else, let me know. Multiple decisions were sort of important for me to rise up to this level. Of course, first decision was my getting first in my BCom examination. So that helped me to build my self-confidence about me. But I would say from a corporate point of view, I worked in a multinational companies, very professional companies. That gave me an exposure to deal with foreign nationals, Americans, Australians, German people. I think that built a lot of confidence in me in managing multiple diverse cultures, multiple countries, multiple citizenships. I used to travel a lot globally also. So I think that helped me to open up my mind to understand how world works and not how only India works. And I must admit here that I got a right mentors at the right point of time who guided me from time to time that I should do this, I should not do this or whatever. In those days, the word mentor was not used, but whatever it was used. In India, we have Guru Shishya Parampara, so we can say that I had a guru who will guide me. And then I think in 2010, I became a qualified American CMA. So I did my US CMA at much later part in my life. But that also helped me a lot to get because I was living abroad already. I lived in South Africa. At that time, I realized that I need a global qualification to work abroad, or it always helps me. So I started working on some international qualifications. So I think US CMA helped me a lot as far as getting on the IMA's global chair. I mean, that was my first journey, exposure to IMA, and I did a US CMA. I think in last 5-6 years, when I started working with IMA as a volunteer from Singapore, when I used to live in Singapore, I got exposed to a lot of good policies and procedures of IMA. And the interesting part was I came to know about a lady who was the first global chairman of IMA and who was the first non-American global chair, a lady by name Gwen Van Burn. So Gwen is a Dutch, she's from Holland, Netherlands, and she became the first global chair. And that made me to think that if Gwen can become the global chair, why not Sunil? And so that was, I would say, the crux of the everything, that she was my inspiration, you can say. And of course, being on a global board, I was already a director on the global board and she was the chairman. So I had an opportunity to meet her many times. I asked her, how you became chairman? What helped you? What did not? No, all those things. So I think all this combination of all these things helped me to become a global chair and work towards global chair. Yeah, it's an interesting question. And I always talk on leadership. Means when in my early career, when I worked with the people, my bosses, most of them, very early career, they are more of autocratic leaders, right? So we thought that autocratic leadership is the best leadership. But then over a period of time, when I started working in multinational companies, professional organizations, I realized that autocratic leaders may not be the best leadership style. But when I started my career as a leader and a finance leader, I would say in organization, I would say initially 1 year I was more of an autocratic leader because that's why I was copying from my old bosses. Over a period of time, I changed myself. I would say I became a situational leader. Different situations need a leader to act differently. Sometimes you have to become autocratic. Sometimes you have to become collective leader. Sometimes you have to become situational leader. So I followed a different model of situational leadership every point of time. And eventually, I think to become a global chairman of a large organization, or even to become a CEO of a company, one need to have a collective leadership style, or nowadays I call coaching-based leadership style. Leader need to coach his deputies, his followers or her followers all the way so that the leader also can grow. So these are some of the nuances of the leadership, but leadership in non-profit is different than leadership in for-profit companies. So person should make the differentiation. When you work in a corporate company like a McDonald's or let's say any manufacturing or any company, they are there for making the profit and distributing the dividend to the shareholders. Whereas in an organization like IMA, it's a non-profit organization. So the stakeholders are your members, your qualified members. So here you have to take a collective leadership style. You have to work with the people. So I think these are the few things that one need to understand when you transition from a corporate leader to a non-profit leader. So I think there are a few things I think which are the significant lessons one need to learn, and what I learn or what I gain from my experiences. One is a leader need to command the trust. And trust is very important for a leadership. And there's a very famous proverb, I think it's a Dutch proverb, which says that trust comes on the foot in walking. Trust comes walking, goes back on the horseback, goes on the horseback. So when you have to break the trust, it breaks within seconds. But to create a trust, it takes long time. So I think a leader need to create a trust and it consistently on a consistent basis over a longer period of time. That's number one. Very important that a leader need to walk the talk. When you say something as a leader, you need to ensure that you respect your own walk the talk. You complete that walk the talk in the sense, whatever you say, you execute that. Not first making people to clap in a public gathering, say something, and then when you come to office, you're a different person, you're talking something different. That should never happen. So leader must walk the talk. For a leadership, networking is very, very important. Any type of leader, be it a corporate leader or non-profit leader. Networking means meeting people from different personas or different genres, because a leader never knows what type of people he or she will need in his or her life. Leaders should take the risks, very, very important. We as a human being, we are averse to risk taking. We don't want to take risks. We like the status quo. But as a leader, you cannot be a status quo. You have to take the risk. Also, a leader need to be good in negotiations. A leader need to negotiate with every stakeholder, be it board of directors, be it shareholders, be it members, be it suppliers, customers, anyone for that matter. So negotiation skills is very important. But I personally developed my own mechanism of leadership, which might not have been given in any book of leadership. Is I call it a sense making. So always say that common sense, we always say that common sense is uncommon. But I say that the sense making is a continuous process for a leader. And leader must exercise a sense making based on what's happening around. For example, Russia and Ukraine war started, and your company imports the, let's say, raw material from Russia or Ukraine. You should be quickly able to decide that, oh, there is going to be impact on my supply chain. Now, this is sense making. And in today's world, the things change so quickly outside. A leader need to continuously keep track of things, explore what is right, what is wrong, meet right type of people, get the right information. And I have written a book, a chapter in a book published by Oxford University, a full chapter on mastering the power of sense making. I can share that book's details also with you. So I think sense making is very important. Other than that, I think a leader also need to listen to his or her intuition at some point of time, right? You have to take sometimes very, very tough decisions. And every time when you take a tough decision, rational thinking will, of course, data will be there. Data will be there. But you need to listen to your intuition that, am I doing something right? By doing this, am I impacting my families of my employees or company's future? So listen to your intuition. So these are some of the tips I would say that a leader need to get used to. It's an interesting question, and I give a lot of credit to my mentors for my own leadership style. So in all, until now, I have 4 mentors. I had one mentor passed away a few years, 2 years back, but I have to, in all 4 to 3 are still there. I always say once a mentor, always a mentor. You are not going to someone to mentor you only once or twice. Lifelong mentorship, I believe that. So I had 4 mentors. So my first mentor was the mentor who mentored me when I was a CFO of Foster's Beer, the Australian beer company. And he told me that I have some leadership qualities and I need to expand those leadership qualities. And I was like, I'm already CFO, but he said, no, you are already CFO, but I want you to go beyond CFO. So I want you to explore the possibilities. So he started giving me, I would say advice, but mentoring me, telling me, read this book, read this article, come back to me, something like very simple way, not telling me what to do, but giving me books or articles or telling me the metaphors, what he have done in his life and how he failed or how he, so I think mentorship was very important. They helped me immensely. So at some point of time, I used to go every Saturday, not every Saturday, every alternate Saturday to my mentor's place and spend 2 hours with him. And he will tell me what is future, what is leadership, risk management is what, why diversity is important and all those things. So that is there. I would also say that you have to make mistakes sometime to learn. A mentor would help you to understand that making mistake is not wrong. Means unless you are in ICU, you are in a patient in ICU and you are making mistake, that's not acceptable. But in a general, so make some mistakes, but quickly learn from those mistakes. That is very, very important. One of my mentor advised me very nicely when I failed in a negotiation deal, one of the very large negotiation I was doing. We were acquiring the company and I failed in that acquisition, the price negotiations. And I was very frustrated and I called my mentor and I told him, sir, this happened and I'm not feeling well. I'm not happy that I couldn't close the deal. So he told me, Sunil, that in every negotiation, exit is an option and you are forgetting that. So that was the, I would say, whatever golden advice I got from my mentor. And after that, lifelong, whenever I go into any sort of negotiation, I know I can exit without doing anything. I'm still okay. So mentors give you some very interesting tips, sometimes openly, sometimes unknowingly, in a subtle way. As a mentee, it's my duty to understand what they are saying, what's the larger picture of the things, and how they can help me. Mentors network also can help you to connect with a lot of people. And of course, you have to keep learning all the time. Yeah, it's interesting. I was speaking on a Saturday at one of the event in Pune at the International Coaching Federation. And there they asked me the same question when I became the global chairman. What feeling came to me or what type of legacy I would like to leave? I'll give the same answer. So one thing I told him that when I became the global chairman of IMA, the first thing what came to my mind in US when they were giving me the, they give a stash like a garland, which is full of names of all the past chairs written in a golden pins and all those things. So they were putting it on me, and of course I have to speak, but I'm not supposed to speak what comes to my mind. You have to read what is already right. It's very systematic event. What came to my mind was very important, which is what in your movie Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. So that was the first thing I realized. Oh my God, now it has happened. Now I am responsible. I'm accountable, right? And if as a leader, you want to inspire the accountability, you need to role model it. If I am not showing that I am responsible, I am accountable, how other people will follow me? So I think that is one thing which came to my mind as a legacy or as a responsibility point of view. I also want to be known within the IMA that I was a different leader, in the sense, not like everyone else. And right, because I don't want to compare myself with anyone else. Second thing is, I also want to be seen as a trusted leader, like walk the talk. Whenever I say something, I do that. That's very important. I also want to be known as a change maker, right? That I have changed the way of working, or I have changed some strategy, or we have taken some decisions which are very important decisions for whatever reason company was not taking or needed to take. So change maker, strategic thinker, very, very important. And of course, very, very important is a good human being. That's also very important. A human being who has got empathy, kindness towards all our members, all our board members, directors, and 140,000 members across the world. This is some of the things I thought I should leave as a legacy. I would only say that one need to plan the life. I always believe that don't make your career or your life as an accident. If you plan, at least 70-80% things will materialize. It's not necessary everything will materialize. But if you don't plan, nothing will happen. And I always say that what got you here won't get you there. That's a famous quote by Marshall Goldsmith, right? What got you here won't get you there. It means you have to continuously keep on adding value to yourself. Oh, I'm an engineer, I'm a chartered accountant, I'm a management accountant. Now I'm done for my life. Then you're finished. So keep on reinventing yourself, redefine your life, plan every 5 years, means at least 5 years at a time, and then break it down into 1 year, and enjoy the life and grow as fast as possible.